The Bureau of Customs is monitoring a car dealer in Pasig City over luxury vehicles with questionable documents. Let's dig deeper into the issue with Customs spokesperson Vincent Philip Maronilla, who joins us now on the line. Mr. Maronilla, thank you so much for joining us. What are these questionable documents that make these more than 80 cars illegally outside and being sold to customers?
Let me just clarify that, Rico. No? We've actually served the letter of authority precisely to check the documents of these vehicles. And the coverage of the letter of authority has been identified to be 197 motor vehicles. Now, out of that 197, we're just waiting for about 84 more cars whose owners are yet to submit the documents. Anyway, they have until the 19th or 15 days from the service of our letter of authority, which was served on July 4, to present these documents. Only after the submission of these documents are we able to determine whether there are issues on payment of taxes and other compliance issues in terms of customs processes.
So how was the Bureau of Customs tipped off about these questionable documents of these luxury cars?
There were information that was gathered and provided to our intelligence group, which spearheaded the service of the letter of authority. Also, there were profiling activities made by the same group about cars being sold online and cross-referencing it to our system. So because of that, there was a need to actually validate certain dealers and sellers of luxury cars to be able to determine whether or not there are indeed issues or questionable issues that might arise out of customs compliance.
And so what are these luxury car brands in question?
Well, there are several brands that were the subject of the letter of authority, including brands of supercars or hypercars, Lamborghini, Ferrari. I think we've had some of those are subject to be of the letter of authority, and other known brands of super and hypercars.
And Mr. Maronilla, how did, in the first place, these vehicles, how were they given the release papers from Customs? Is the BOC also investigating within its ranks who releases vehicles without proper documentation or questionable documents?
That will be a part of the investigation once we've received the submission from the owners of these vehicles, and findings should point out to some irregularities. But that will be jumping to a conclusion because we've yet to receive these documents, and for all we know, they could justify the registration and the payment of taxes of these motor vehicles. But should and when there would be findings after the submission, and our validation should reveal that these motor vehicles have questionable documents, and part of the investigation will be to also look into the culpability of our own personnel.
These luxury vehicles with questionable documents, Mr. Maronilla, are they still in the car showroom compound or have they been impounded?
No, we've not issued a seizure order against them, precisely because the service of the letter of authority merely provides us the authority to validate certain documents. So they're still in possession of the owner, and we've just actually secured them to protect the integrity of the service of the letter of authority.
So these luxury vehicles with questionable documents cannot exit or enter the premises until all documents are presented to the Bureau of Customs?
Presented and validated, and the letter of authority is closed.
And how many Bureau of Customs personnel are currently watching the compound to make sure that none of these cars leave the premises?
I'm not sure about the exact figure, but there is a plan approved by the Commissioner himself, suggested by our enforcement arm. And there are enough number of customs personnel and other government agencies helping us to be able to fully secure the premises.
And Mr. Maronilla, is this just one car dealer? Could there be more? Will there be another special operation to find alleged smuggled cars or luxury vehicles or other types of vehicles that don't have proper documents?
There might be some, that all depends on the information that will be gathered by our intelligence group. Again, these are just all routine verifications. We've not found anything yet, and we're just actually asking the owners of these vehicles to just cooperate and provide us with documents. And for all we know, there might not be even any issue. But should there be, and then I think that's the one thing that we're going to look into.
What about in past instances? Have there been also cases that the Bureau of Customs has raided a car dealer with questionable documents or are selling smuggled vehicles?
Well, in the past, there were some instances of those, no, but we're not making general allegations at this point. For all we know, again, if the owners, the different owners of these cars are able to produce those documents, then we won't have any issue. So right now, it's really premature to jump into any conclusions, except that we're validating some of the documents presented.
All right, the deadline's on July 19. What if some of the owners say that they don't have the documents with them? Will you be extending the deadline?
It all depends on the reasonableness of the request. Of course, that's an option coming from the owners. But it will all depend on the reasonable of the request and, of course, the discretion to be provided for by the issuing authority, which is the Commissioner of Customs.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word, Customs spokesperson Vincent Philip Maronilla.